Welcome
to
the Energy and Heart podcast
featuring
Jiggy
and Steph.
Yeah.
We are at episode 10, y'all. We made it.
It's our last episode of the season. If you think about it, we've actually been working on this and recording since June. So we've actually been doing this for a while now. So it's time for us to rest, and we'll see you again in a month.
Look at us modeling rest. It's like they practice what they preach or something.
Yeah, we do what we say we're gonna do. It's as if like we're the examples of what discipline actually looks like with rest. Oh my God! It turns out that you can execute and be consistent and rest, and then show up even better next time. It's as if.
Okay, tell us how you lost your voice this time. I swear to God, every other episode, you lose your voice. So, like, tell the people how you lost your voice.
Shoot, oh my God, you're actually right.
Yeah. Well, this happened 2 episodes ago.
Okay, alright.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Alright, well, I'm back from New York.
Yes.
The difference between the last episode and today is that your girl is 30 years old now. I went to New York from Thursday until Monday, and I don't really know why I lost my voice. Maybe it was just like really just loud in the club. But yeah, back from the trip. I'm excited for 30. So thankful for everybody that I saw during my trip. Grateful to have seen my high school and walked down memory lane. And I also visited my old apartment. That's a huge part of the story. It was the start of my entire story, the one that like caught on fire and stuff like that. I really wanted to use this trip intentionally to release the stories of pain and to just like create safety on my own. And so these are experiences that were understandably extremely hurtful and life-changing, but I wanted to switch my narrative and say I create my own peace, I create my own safety. So I'm thankful for the experience that this place gave me and my mom. It was our home. It's very unfortunate and super traumatic what happened afterwards, but I rely on myself for safety now, and little Jiggy, young Jiggy Yoon trusts me to take care of her moving forward. So I just wanted to just kind of just put a closure to literally freaking everything before I turned 30. So I'm really grateful for that. It was a really good trip. I was super homesick. I haven't been back home in years, and it was super needed, and I'm so thankful.
Yeah. I mean, the last episode we were going through like your 20s, right? And so I'm just glad that like ended, in your home area, and like you're able to like honor different pieces of your life and see different people from different places. It wasn't like, oh, just your college friends.
Oh no, this is like New York is like my 10s. It's not even my 20s. It's my 10s.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
What a beautiful way to close that. You made that happen.
So grateful that I made it happen.
Mm-hmm.
How was your weekend? Instead of coming to my birthday, bitch went somewhere else.
So I went to Kylie's wedding.
Yeah.
Oh my God! Can we like show Kai Motoko
new character?
Buy Kylie's cakes. But no, for real. For context, Kylie and I used to work at my last corporate job at the Princeton Review, and yeah, we just like slaved our lives away there, and then eventually like I left to start my thing. It was just so cool because like our friendship started there, but I also witnessed her like start her own business, start her cake stuff, which she's really passionate about. I always like had seen her from the very beginning. Like I was like, dude, you're like meant for something like really big. So it's just so wonderful to like see her like grow so much in the last couple of years, and like to be invited to her wedding. I feel like it's so significant to be invited to people's weddings, but with Kylie, it was just like, dude, this happens every time, but like she walked out.
Oh no.
In her like, so like all the the Kylie walked out. I met Kylie on a few occasions. I also hung out with her family and friends for like I think like Thanksgiving or something. One thing like before. So I actually saw some familiar faces. But Kylie, her now husband, walked out. His groomsmen, and then the bridesmaids. And then like when she walked out, dude. I legit started crying the second I saw her. And I don't like know what it was. Like I don't know what it is that like made me cry, but I was just like, oh my god, like I think it was like a mixture of like just her reaching this point which we talked about back in like 2017 and like just seeing all her friends and family and like being able to be a part of it's like a whole thing. And she walked out to like I think Justin Bieber's like song too, and I was just like yes. So like it was just so beautiful, and like I think the wedding, like why I love weddings is just like this is my first wedding with Kato as my date. So that was also really fun because I think it just opened up like conversations around like what do we see. Are we gonna have Jiggy officiate our wedding? Like,
honey, that's a given.
Things like that. So like, it was really fun to like explore that with him. And yeah, it was just like, I think Kylie's wedding was just like so sweet, like, and also like pieces of it were very simple too. Like I feel like some people go super over the top. They have like 5 people like do speech. Like that's probably what's gonna happen in mine. But she just had maid of honor. Like do her speech. There's only 2 speeches, so I was like, oh, this is actually really nice. So, and also the food was really good. I feel like it's always a hit or miss, like this food, but that was really good. So, yeah, we love here, as everyone knows, and that was like so beautiful. So it was like nice to like have Rosie's engagement, and then like her, Kylie's wedding, and like just realizing like wow, like friendships, family, relationships like are so significant. And having them all the same, also your birthday, because you have like everyone around you, and I've just been reminded again and again, like relationships are so important, like make sure you invest in them, and like weddings I think being like the ultimate like who's gonna be here like, in your life, yeah, because you were saying that too, like about your birthday. So yeah, but yeah, that was my weekend. It was really special, but yeah.
Man, when a bride walks out, it's like a mix of like, holy shit, you look so freaking beautiful. Yeah. And then also like, oh my god, bitch, I am so fucking happy for you.
Yeah.
It's just, yeah. Uh-oh.
Yeah, I can't. It was just, yeah. Yeah. It's just a lot. Yeah. And you just see like you're like, okay, you know how at the end of your life you see life flash before your eyes? I feel like when you see like weddings, it's like you see your friendship like flash before your eyes, but I feel like that's what happened. I was like, wow, like we've seen each other do some shit. Because I was telling Kato about all of it. I was like, wow, we really have like seen each other through the years and stuff. So yeah.
Man, family is important, but when it comes to friendships, like those are really the homies who really see you go through everything.
Yeah.
Including relationships. And when you see a friend getting married, it's like, man, I've seen how many dumbass dudes.
I knew you were gonna say something about this.
You used to be in a relationship and you finally found a good one. Yes. Yeah. So today's the last episode, and we set an intention before we started.
Typical.
So what is it? What are we gonna talk about today?
So the other day, Jiggy asked me when we were taking a walk, like, where do we see, like, the podcast going? And so we were talking about what it was like at the beginning, which I think you had a different experience than, like, I did going into this, like, creating this, like, podcast. So I feel like I want to share that part first, like, how both of our experiences differed, who we were at the beginning when we started this project, and then, like, where we are now, like, at the end of season 1.
Every time a cohort in RBTL ends, we do like who you were before, like who I was before RBTL, and who I am now, and like hopes and wishes for each other, like when the cohort's over and like the friendship, everybody's going their separate ways, and so hopes and wishes for each other. So
it makes sense that this is the end because I did design that with Norman. So, do you want to go or do you want me to go first?
I'll go first.
Okay.
Who I was before the podcast, I always believed in the podcast. Like, I always just believed in... I think that Steph and I have the kind of relationship and collaboration and power where whatever it is that we do together is going to be fucking dope. Whether it's, her business related or my business related or whatever our postcards, whatever it is that we do. I just know that it's going to be great because we're going to care about it, we're going to be passionate about it, we're going to put our own magic and excellence into it, like dedication. Like, it's always going to be great. What I look forward to most about the podcast was just our conversations. This has been supposed to be happening like a year ago, and life kept happening and it kept getting delayed, but I just always thought that like the conversations that we naturally have has so much dope wisdom in there. And I'm not saying that it's because we're gurus and we know everything. It's just that we literally talk so much about what we're learning about ourselves and our lives. And that includes both personal and professional development. That includes both friendships and relationships and attachment styles and love languages and all of these things, plus boundary setting and self-care routines and the integrity of a business and what we're learning about how we want to build our businesses, how we interact with other people when we want to collaborate with other businesses. Like, we literally talk about so many different things, and I know I say this a lot, but there is literally no other podcast like ours. There really fucking is not. And I really just always fucking believed in the power of us and this podcast. And I just knew it would be dope and just really funny, and it just needed to happen. And even from the get-go, I always thought like we're gonna be in a studio one day, and we're gonna have our own like merch one day, and we're gonna have sponsors one day. Like, I visualize these things because I see other podcasts doing it. Like, there are other channels I listen to that I look up to, and I see the way that they impact the world just by having a podcast. Like, these are things that, for example, E.T., Eric Thomas, like, they've been doing this. They never missed a week. They never missed an episode since, like, 2014. And the impact that they have on the world, and they do it for free. This is accessible. And they're able to help people for free in this way, and also, uplift their businesses as well. But like, people just learn so much, and like, you just never know who you can help, who you can save by just doing that episode that you weren't really sure about. Shout outs to episode 2. But like, that you weren't really sure about, but it turns out we're talking about the shit that everybody else experiences. It's just that no one talks about it, or no one wants to talk about it. And with me preaching vulnerability is dope all the time, and with Steph just rightfully so doing our business and like teaching people how to communicate and things, and then here's Noah just shaking his little cone there. All of these things combined, it is so obvious. It's so obvious. And so like, I believe in the power then. I still believe in it now. I'm already like trying to, get ideas as to how we can budget and get sponsors for the next season. We're gonna be in a studio next season. Believe it, because when I say I'm going to do something, it's going to happen. We'll see you in November in a studio. And it's just going to be just my hopes and wishes are that this just keeps going. I don't want this to be something that we do just in 2022 or just in 2023. I would really like for this to be a baby that we raise together.
Oh, I never thought about it that way. No. Don't be getting emotional. This is the second podcast I'm gonna cry in.
Finish her.
Oh no. Oh man. Where do I even start? I feel like so I want to share. The reason why I want to share this is because I think there are people who are listening that I feel like may come from my side of the spectrum, like going into projects where like I had a feeling that like it would work, but like I've always been inspired by like Jiggy's confidence and her like belief in like what she's able to do. I think for me in my own journey of like believing in myself, there's like still parts of me that feel like a little like they're still developing. I think like getting a sense of my own voice, like really seeing how like powerful and empowering like I can be. But I feel like going into this project for me, it was actually a little bit different. I'm very grateful that you're like just like the energy behind
Energy and heart. God damn it. I knew it. I'm over here like, she's, please don't.
Okay, but she was like the driving. Okay, she was like. This is a reference to something else, but like Jiggy was like the driving force behind like this really coming together, and like she's been hounding me since like last year about this because she believes in it so much. And I'm just like grateful that she never like gave up on the idea and like really kept pushing for it. I think this is just a little bit more, this was more out of my comfort zone. Like I think I've like done, even when I recorded my first podcast with my previous business partner, like I was really scared to like be in the spotlight, and I feel like just seeing the difference between how it was then and now, I was just like, oh, like wow, we're on video, audio, like this is really different. But yeah, so I came from the side of like feeling a little bit nervous and like kind of not believing in myself. I knew like it would be fine, but I think just like getting started is really hard, and I feel like I imagine that people can relate. Like it's just like, okay, just taking that first step is just, that's all you need sometimes. Like I think I was thinking like so far in, and I was like, dude, I need to like get rid of like all the expectations that I have and just like get to that first like episode, that first room. And so I'm so glad we did, because I feel like I think the way that's impacted me is like it's helped me see myself differently. And what I mean by that is like I feel like I feel like valuable. Like I know I am, but like I think just seeing what we talked about, like and having other people share how it impacted them made me realize like, oh shit, like this really can actually change the trajectory of somebody's life. But just hearing that, I was just like, oh shit, like that's a lot of influence and power, and like it's like if I were to want people to wield that, I would trust it with me and you know? And so that's what's like kind of kept me going. It's just like, you know, if you're gonna like invest time in a project, like invest it in something like where you can really like change somebody's life. And so yeah, that's what's like kind of kept me going. But I think on top of that, the experience has been, I think in terms of our relationship, like very deepening. I think like we've had moments where like I don't even know we would have talked about it if it wasn't for the podcast. So I feel like there are moments like, actually I think we probably would have, but like I think there are moments caught in this podcast that I was like, wow, like I'm grateful that it was captured, I think in some form. Like I've never, like I love the way that you create content and like document your life. And I think something that I've been super grateful about in this specific chapter is how this podcast has made me be more present to what's actually happening like in my life. So usually I'm like go, like on to the next thing, and like this podcast has been personally where I'm like sitting down and really thinking about like what did happen this weekend, like what interesting stories, like what progress or like what changes have happened. And I think personally that's been like really special. But like I guess you say like professionally, just getting a better sense of my own voice and what I represent has been like significant. So I think that was off topic in terms of like the where I was, but I was like really nervous before, and now I'm just like, yeah, like I really do see something. So when Jiggy asked me the other day, like, you know, where do I see this going? I was like, you know, after being in it and getting multiple reps, like I was like, yeah, this could really go somewhere. Like actually, I think you just need to see it to believe it, you know? Like Jiggy saw it before. She has this like knack for like seeing things before they're like even there. But like my ass is like,
if I'm Christian or something.
Yeah. You can tell my belief is still shaky.
Literally talked about it a few episodes ago.
Yeah,
I had to like work on my faith.
Yeah. Yeah, Jiggy has this knack for like believing in things that like you cannot see. Like, and I think that's like a superpower of yours. Like you can you feel it, and then you're just like, yeah, I believe in it. And I'm over here like, bitch, if I don't see it, I don't know. And so like I just love that you like pushed us to make the bet, and it was a worthy bet. Yeah. That's my reflection.
Cool. Yeah, I think that's why I was just so down to like, I think how the postcard happened is like we were looking for ways to announce the thing finally happening, and I just wanted to celebrate that it was finally freaking happening, and it's such a special collaboration. I think that this is something that a lot of people actually wanted to see happen. Yeah. And it actually happened, and we almost didn't do a postcard. Like there was a point where we were just like, oh, is it a little too much, and we almost didn't do it, but we just kind of like kept thinking about it, and I designed it anyway and asked about her opinions anyway, and it almost didn't happen. But once she saw the postcard, she was like, okay, we gotta do it.
Okay, all right, we can.
I was like, Steph, it's all in the font. It's in the font, man. I'm just trying to look for the font.
Yeah.
And then when she saw it, she's like, I get why it's the font. Yeah. It's in the font.
It was in the
but
font.
like my whole dad thing happened out of nowhere, and I had to be in Korea for it, and just I mean that was another thing that could have delayed the podcast, but
we really kept going.
And I had to go back to Korea, but I said we gotta keep going, and so we said, you know what, I'm gonna be in Korea, I'll order the postcards, can you ship them out? We came up with this like sheet of names and addresses to put those out, and we were excited about the QR code, and I was like texting, I was like, bitch, is the QR code working for you? And she was like over here like taking her phone to the computer screen because I was in Korea and all of this, but like it happened, and people thought I mailed it from Korea. I was like, no, this is why it's a collaborative effort. It's a collaborative effort. Bitch tried to put the stamp on the postcard to send it. I said, bitch, no. God. People have to open it and pull it out.
I just thought it would be cool.
No.
Yeah, but also like the experience design though, putting the QR codes in the back. We literally laid on my floor. That's like how we came up with that. Yeah. Like we were laying on the floor. Yeah. You have a video of this, I remember. And I was like, I think this is a brilliant idea, because I wanted it to be like a whole.
Dude, maybe that's our version of looking at the stars or like clouds, like how kids do. Like,
dude, I think good ideas come from laying down. Maybe we should do the podcast laying down one day.
Oh, shit. We should do all of our meetings laying down too. One time we accidentally ended up having a meeting while laying down in the park.
Yes, we did. Yeah, Leona. Yeah.
But I'm grateful, and what you said about documenting and being more present, I think that's really special. You're absolutely right, and I'm just excited to see what's next. And next season I expect us to have like a social media coordinator to just take care of all of that and just like blow us up with the hey Megan to blow us up with the snippets and all. But I really I just know there's something here. Yeah. But we just gotta keep going. Yeah. I don't want this to be a thing where we like thought, oh, that was nice when. Like I need us to really like keep going.
Yeah, I hear you. When I say I hear you, I actually hear you. I think like when I think about this project, right? Like I think I just take things so. I don't know, it's hard when you have like so many things on your plate, right? And you're trying to decide like how do I integrate this? Because that was the challenge. It was like you felt like you had a lot of things. I felt like I had a lot of things. How the hell are we gonna integrate like another like project? And I felt like it was a conscious effort to like schedule it appropriately to work on times that we could work, and then also be mindful of like traveling like plans. And so I felt like required, because people don't see this, like people don't see that like how many times we've had to like reschedule because of like life things, but we're still able to like make it happen like every single week. And so I feel like to those of you thinking about doing projects with your best friends, it's the best decision that you could possibly make. Like,
but make sure that you're compatible. Like, don't do
we
shit.
should have a conversation about chemistry.
Damn it, that was an episode that we were gonna do too.
I feel like we have time. We have time.
Okay.
We have time. We have time. There was a
timer here.
Y'all know we're always like an hour long. We're just like, shit, we gotta like, it's late tonight. Like, we gotta make it happen. Okay, I feel like you have to explain this conversation because this was the premise of us working together. Like this conversation about chemistry.
Yeah. Okay, so basically, she's had a podcast before, like she said, with her former business partner. I've had a podcast of my own before, and I've also had a podcast with like 3 other women before. And the lesson is that it's not that you can't, but like you really need to sit and think about why you do what you do and collaborate with somebody. Like you can't just do it just because you're besties. You can't do it just because you think it's a fun idea. Like there has to be agreeable chemistry where it literally makes sense, and not just makes sense and like, oh yeah, we're gonna do dope shit together, but like, are you actually gonna like execute it together? Are you actually going to deliver it from start to finish together? Like, are you actually going to not just like talk about it, but then do it and be about it? Like, are you gonna do it and then also do it again and again and again? Are you going to have the same level of commitment? Are you going to agree to that level of commitment? Mm-hmm. The chemistry between how you carry the conversations, the topics that you have. Like, is there actually chemistry between when you have a conversation, or is it just like freaking boring and everybody can tell that you're just like forcing yourself to the conversation? Can people actually tell that like you are overthinking this entire thing or not? Or is it just like a natural conversation that's just a good fucking time? And like very intentional. Are you clear about your intentions? Like if you think that you can do a project together just because you're best friends, does not mean that you can be partners together. It does not mean that you can execute a project together or do a business together. That's just like, just because you like to talk about the same things does not mean that you can have a show together. Like you literally have to have
it's nuanced,
just balanced passion that meets each other and fills each other and each other's lackings, as well as like the same commitment at the same time.
Yeah, take that back, y'all. I take that back what I said. But
you can't just have a conversation about it first.
Yes, I do think being best friends does help in terms of like level of chemistry though. Like I think there are people who may be in your same industry who may like to talk about the same things, but don't have that. And the thing is, you're more likely to find people in that same industry and be able to talk about similar things. You're less likely to find that sort of best friend chemistry. So I think that's why I said, like, if there's a project you want to do with your best friend, I think best friendship obviously like is super helpful. But I also think that like there is the execution piece, and there is also alignment in like alignment in values. When the fuck do we not say that? I feel like we said that every episode this time, but I think that's truly like part of the expectation. I think also we've trial ran a few projects together. Like this is not our first project. Like
we already know how to work together.
Yeah,
we've been doing it.
Yeah, we've been doing it since 2000. Yeah, since 2019. So like this is not our first rodeo. But I'm glad that this is the latest one because I feel like we learned so much about each other working together before. Sorry, Jiggy just got a phone call notification. But I feel like we learned so much about each other before we actually embarked on this. And I think that, like, for me, the meaning that I'm making out of, like, us being here and doing it is because of that. Okay.
How the analogy that comes up for me is like when you are dating and then thinking about getting married, because you can be dating and that's fine, and you know there's partnership there and collaboration and communication and boundaries there, but then when it comes to marriage and like maybe even having kids, it's like do you share the same parenting styles or like the values that you want to teach your children?
That's
like
a great analogy.
There's different things that you have to collaborate on in order to make it work and raise it.
Yeah.
And so, like, dating, like, being best friends, like, that's the relationship itself. That's cool. That's fine. Whatever. But, like, creating something together and then, like, building it together, raising it together, however it becomes is because of your DNA is put together in this.
Yeah.
So the dopeness of this podcast is because both of our DNAs are combined. But like,
I'm sorry. That's really funny.
But yeah, I think that intention is just really important, and I think like even now we had to have a conversation 2 weeks ago. Like even though we did this together now, it's also like, is there commitment? Do we understand that we both have a commitment to doing this, continuing to move forward? I absolutely fucking do. I take this seriously. Like I don't want to skip a week. No matter what it is, I want it to be released every Friday. Like this is the one thing amongst many other things I would love to see. I would love to commit to. And the guys, whether you're an entrepreneur or you have goals in life, it was big or small doesn't matter. It's like if it's important to you, you do it. If it's important to you, if there's something that you want to make happen in your life, and if it's important to you, then it's important, no matter how small or how big. So like people can say like, you don't have thousands of followers. Like, why are you so serious about it? It's like, if we're not serious about it, we're not going to get to a point of thousands of listeners. Like, this is what matters. Consistency starts from the beginning. And, wow, I'm about to sound so much like a motivational speaker. But I am.
It's like...
I know I don't usually talk like this, but guys, like, this does matter. Like, consistency, commitment, and like perseverance, and like making it work and making it happen. Like, look, we're 2 hours behind the originally scheduled recording time. It's past my bedtime now.
My car got towed today. That's what happened.
We somehow ended up getting ice cream with Carrie, and carrying a desk for her. But here we are. You know, we ate for 5 minutes and they got it done. You know. Yeah. Here's Noah in a cone. You know, we're not doing so hot right now, but we're making it happen. But like, just, no matter how big or how small to the world, if it's important to you, the size of it doesn't matter. If it's important to you, it's just as big. And so like, be committed to it. Be passionate about it. It doesn't matter what other people think about it. If it's important to you, be committed to it. Be consistent about it. Try to stay on top of it. Try not to make excuses. Don't delay progress. And keep going. And I'm saving this for one day when we do have thousands of followers.
Manifestation.
Manifesting our sponsors.
Yeah.
Chewy.com for Noah.
Oh.
A coffee company because I love coffee. We could possibly collaborate with BetterHelp because we believe that therapists sometimes need to learn how to communicate too.
I want to be sponsored by RBTL. I want my own company. I would invest my own money in this.
I already budgeted. JY & Co. will also be sponsoring this podcast.
RBTL will also be sponsoring. Dude, I think the coolest thing is that we own our own business.
We literally talk about our own businesses anyway, so this can be a business expense technically.
Yeah.
My favorite thing about our friend group is like when we tag each other, we can also tag their businesses. And I just think that's so freaking cool. Like, I don't know. I just like you know, I feel like you're Charlie's Angels. Like, dude, we're just so cool, man.
I think this is like a common thread that I've also loved throughout this entire podcast is referencing the girls. I feel like that has been a significant part of the...
Maybe you'll see them next season.
Not saying anything, but I feel like because it's so perfect that this started in K-Town and that like we met them like right at the beginning, because I feel like they have been such a significant impact and influence on like our journeys throughout. Like I don't know an episode where we didn't talk about them actually.
Man, there was this one day when Steph, I think this was one of the first times we talked about the podcast. Our podcast was actually going to be called In Unit Laundry. And there's a whole story behind that too.
Yes.
But the time that we were talking about doing a podcast, like Steph came to pick me up because I used to live in NoHo. She used to live in Temple City, is it called?
Yeah, Temple City, yeah.
The 6 to 6.
Yeah.
And she came, but like we would try to like figure out things to do because we didn't really have friends, and also the pandemic, and like we didn't have many places to go. So she came over and we were gonna get boba, and we did. And then we came back to my place and just like sat on the porch, and we were just like the sunset was going down, and we were just like having this great ass conversation. That's the day when you met brother, tall as hell, and you were like, damn, you know. But anyways, and that we were having this conversation, and I was like, dude, like, imagine this was on a podcast, like.
We really did think about this back then.
Yeah, and we were just talking about how, like, but, like, look at it, like, it was just us. We had nothing else to do but get boba and just sit with each other and talk. Like, that's what we did to hang out. But now here we are talking about friends and, like, we're doing things, we're going to events and, like, traveling and what are we talking about? We have something to do every weekend. Like,
who are we?
We can't remember what we did, but we know we did something. Like, what? We used to not remember what we did because there was nothing that we did.
No? Okay, you make it sound like we didn't have lives. We really...
What did we do? Tell me. Zoom meetings or stay up doing work on Zoom together? And get boba.
We played Among Us.
Or playing Among Us.
Okay, we played games. Okay, it was in the pandemic, okay? We were respecting, like, the CDC guidelines. Like, what do you expect?
Okay, you know what we did when we were able to go out?
What?
We got boba.
Yeah. Well, that was my idea at the time, okay? Like, I think Carrie and Jamie really opened me up to the world of...
We have friends now, that's why. We used to hang out, like, the only other thing we used to do was get K BBQ when Kato was in town.
You know what?
We didn't do anything.
Well, also, okay, it's just location. Okay, fine. We didn't, we didn't do much, okay?
You know what we used to do? We had to go
fun.
all the way to SM to hang out with friends.
We're fun bitches now. That's what she's trying to say, okay? We're not boring anymore.
And
how things have changed. Before we were not fun and we were boring bitches, and now after the podcast,
we weren't boring bitches. We were just fun, but quarantine fun.
And now after the podcast, we are fun and exciting, energetic, and full of heart.
What was that?
I actually did not see myself in video. I definitely need to watch that.
Oh my god. My money don't jiggle jiggle.
My money don't jiggle jiggle, it folds. I'd like to see you wiggle wiggle, for sure.
Anyhow,
yeah.
I just want to say, I really feel as though, you know, and even though it's been just 10 episodes, I think that people have seen my evolution in such a short period of time, and I think that when we think about it, we really can grow and change really quickly. And just, you know, this podcast, this season alone, I've been through so much, and you've seen me grieve a lot, and you've seen us talk about relationships too, and the evolution of me going through, like, being revived by Kaylani on my birthday and stuff. And I think that I'm really, like, a different person than I was compared to the first episode. I know I've cried a lot on this season as well, and, like, all of you have been so compassionate, even though you go through Steph to tell her how great the podcast is, and she relays the message to me. I'm just really grateful for everybody just, like, taking the time to listen. I really appreciate all of you having, like, takeaways and sharing them with us, because that tells us that we're actually making an impact, the impact that we want to be making. I just want to thank you guys for just, like, creating the space. I mean, not that you have a choice, but, like, it's your choice to watch it or not, whatever. But I'm just thankful that you're listening and that you're witnessing this growth.
Yes.
That's all I wanted to say.
I first want to say that this was not intentional matching.
Show them your hair.
It's pink. I thought that was very beautifully said. I think because when we're recording and when we're doing all these things, I, like, forget that there's, like, there's a second party that's part of this, which is, like, people who are consistently, like, watching, and yeah, I think it means a lot, like, to put time, like, I mean, hours, it's not a small feat to listen 2 hours, like, because I told Jiggy before, I was like, oh, should we optimize for, like, you know, shorter episodes, like will people want to watch it if it's like too long. And I remember I just remember someone saying like, I feel like I'm like having lunch with you guys. Like I feel like I'm like sitting at a fireplace with you guys, and that's like what we intended, right? Was like to make it feel like you're here like with us. And so it means a lot that the intention and the impact are matching.
Dude, we're cool. Like people want to hang out with us. We're cool, man.
I think I'm all right. You see the difference? Do you see the difference? The day one day I'm gonna look back at this podcast and be like, Steph, what the fuck you saying? Yeah. Thank you, y'all. We appreciate you so much.
We'll see you. Oh, I'm sad.
We'll see you in the next season. That's exciting. Like, wait, because the next season. Okay, can't say too much. Possibly special guest. Possibly. There's a lot of possibilities.
Oh, I'm sad.
Aww.
Okay, we'll see you guys in a month. We'll see you on November 4th. Now it has to happen.
Because we said it.
Integrity. Accountability.
And we say what we do.
Peace mode.
Bye, y'all.
Bye.